So the first one says the following information is to be used for 1 and to 3. So we have A is 1, 4, 6, 9, B is 2, 3, 4, 5, C is 2, 7, 8. I didn't have to give you a universal set because I specified exactly what was in the sets, right? However, if I asked for complements, I would have to give you a universal set, or how would you find the complement, correct? So I can't ask complements. What is this symbol? Or, and it also means union, right? So they could say A union B, A or B. If it's an A or an B, even if it's in both, we list it, right? Too many phones up. Make sure your phones are away. So in A or B, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. Just B. A or B. This one is the AND symbol, or intersection, and it's any that are in A and B. What is an A and B? Just the number 4. Then 3 says, which of the pairs of sets are disjoint? Disjoint means nothing in common, correct? So which ones have nothing in common? A and C. And how we can show that is we can go A and C equals the empty set. When you take the intersection of them, it should have an empty set, correct? Because there's nothing in common, which is true, so 3 is A. And this one says, natural numbers less than 10 is the universal set. I have to give you that because I asked you some complement questions below, correct? Odd numbers less than 10, so I would list them. And I get 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. B is 1, 5, 7. C is 4, 5. The empty set is a subset of which of the following? All of them. Because the empty set is a subset of everything. What is the value of n of b? So they can either give you n of b like this, or they can say the number of elements in b. Do I want what's in b listed? No, I want how many in b are there, right? Yeah. Yeah. So number of elements in b is how many? 3. So we pick C, we don't pick A, right? A would be listing the elements, and I want the number of them. The woodpeckers are going to drive me crazy. Those are the woodpeckers. That's what they're pecking right now. I don't. You act. Okay. This one says only one of the following statements are true. Which is it? So is the universal set a subset of B? No, the universal set's bigger than B, so it can't be. C is a subset of B, is a subset of U. C has 4, 5. B has not 4. Oh, yeah. C is a subset of A, is a subset of U. C has 4, 5. A has nope. She done. B is a subset of A, is a subset of U. B has 1, 5, 7. No, I forgot. A has 1, 5, 7. U has 1, 5, 7. Shub. And some more. Whatever the heck A has. 9 and 3. Sheedy. Now, B or C naught. So in order to list that, I'm going to list what C naught is. What is in C? 4, 5. So it's going to be 1, 3, 2, 4. What was it? I don't even remember. 4, 5. It's not 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't even remember. Natural numbers less than 10. So yeah, 1 to 9. So 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then B has 1, 5, 7. I'm jealous of the fact that you can just see it on your paper without scrolling. So I want or. So it's or, so it's in either or. We're going to list it. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How'd you do on that one? Good? Thumbs up? Then not B and not C. If C, not B, 1, 5, 7 is B. So not B is going to be 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. and not C is here, and I want what's in both, because it's an and or an intersection. So 2, 3, 6, 8, and 9. How'd you guys do? Okay? Okay, I'm going to hand out some notes. Like this one is A equals, and then I put what this is. This will be B equals. I put what's in this one. This one I'm going to go divisible by 3 and A and B equals. I have to use the notation. Divisible by 3, A or B equals. Use the notation, right?
Why isn't it just C though?
What?
Like, why wouldn't it be C? Oh, never mind.
I don't even know where I'm so lost. I'm in another planet with that question. I don't even know.
But like, the question is C divisible by 3 and 5. Why wouldn't we put C and this is equals?
It's not C equals. It's the set notation. You need to use the actual set notation. C doesn't equal that. There's not even a set that's a C.
This is confusing.
So when we fill them in, divisible by 3 is A. So A is going to be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Close bracket. Divisible by 5 is B, because B is the set that's divisible by 5, which is going to be 5, 10, 15. And we need to represent what's divisible by 5, or by 3, which is A, and 5, which is B. So you can either represent it as A and B like that, or you could say A intersection B, technically. You could use the word, right? Because the word means the same. It's the exact same. And what's in A and B? Just 15. Now we did this question yesterday, but we're going to put it in a Venn diagram today. And then divisible by 3 or 5, we do A or B, and we list anything in A or in B, A union B. So 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 12, 15, 18. So before we draw some Venn diagrams, I want to go over what different shapes mean. So if you look at a Venn diagram, it has two circles overlapping if there's actually stuff in common, correct? But if two sets were actually completely disjoint, they would just be a circle and a circle with nothing crossing over, right? Or if you did cross it over, this would be empty, right? There'd be nothing in between them. So the proper way to show it would not be to cross them over and leave it empty. The proper way to show it if they were disjoint is to have two completely separate circles, correct? Now, we're going to go over different shapes. So if you look here, this is an eyeball shape. And you're like, what do you mean an eyeball shape? Well, thanks for moving for no reason, computer. If I put my lashes on it, she's an eyeball. You see the eyeball? Yeah. Okay, the eyeball shape, and this is very important to know for two circles because we're going to need it for three circles as well. The eyeball shape is where you put and. All the stuff that would fill into and would go in the eyeball. Make sure your phones are away. Anything that would go into and would go in the eyeball. So, we're going to go, she put it away because you didn't know you didn't. Yeah, there it is. So in the eyeball shape, we put what's in the and. What's in the and? 15. So that's all I'm going to list in here. And I'm going to put a dot beside it because then I know it's actually the number 15, not 15 objects. Because we'll do ones where it's like 70 kids ride the bus, 20 kids ride drive in a car, and 10 do both, right? So that would be the number of them. It wouldn't be a specific number or item. This is the number 15 would be in both, okay? We also have to remember to label our Venn diagram. So I would put an A here and a B here, or I put the A there and the B there, but whatever I do, I have to just make sure I use the right one. The other thing you need to know, so the eyeball is and. This plain old circle is for single. So in this case, it would be just for just A, or for just B, whatever's in B, or just in A. I would put in just the circle, right? And then there's a snowman. It's an unorthodox snowman, but a snowman nonetheless. Don't tell me that a snowman has to have 3 circles. That's rude. I'm showing you the 2 circles are a snowman. Okay, there's my snowman. See? This is the snowman. We agree? So the 2 circles is the snowman. And everything in the snowman represents or. So I know that in this whole snowman here, including his stomach, I'm going to have all the items in the or. Now some people think the snowman doesn't include the stomach. The or is just these. You don't have a snowman. If you cut that out, the snowman crunches, it is now just a pile of snow. You have a crappy snowman is what you have. That's not a good snowman. That is a snow pile. So or includes the stomach of the snowman as well, right? It includes that as well. So we also have to draw a rectangle around our 2 circles. Why would you think we'd have to do that? Anyone have any idea?
If you look all out, it's still all in one thing.
No. Something about the universal set. No. Something about the universal set. Is everything in A and B in the universal set? Everything in A or B in the universal set? Yes. But is everything in A or B including all of everything that's in the universal set? No, there are some numbers that are actually not in A or B but are still in the universal set, correct? The box represents the universal set. So A or B represents everything in A or B, and then you have to draw the box because there can always be items that don't actually go in A or B, right? And they have to still be shown. So I start off with small shapes to big shapes. So I always start off with the and because it's the smallest shape, the eyeball. Then I go to the single circles because they're the next smallest shape. Then I go to the snowman because it's the biggest shape. I go from small to big, okay? So I did this first. In the A circle, I have to have everything that's in A. In A, I have 3, dot, 6, dot, 9, dot, 12, dot. Do I list 15 here? It's already in the circle, isn't it? Just that the fact that it's here just means that it's also in the B as well, correct? That's why we list it here. Anything listed here is only in A. Anything listed over here in this moon is only in B, and the thing in the middle is in both. I'm going to have 18 still. Then I go to the other plane circle, because I have to go small shapes to big shapes. So now I go to the next circle, to B. B has 5, 10, and 15. So 5, 10, 15. Now the whole snowman actually represents the or. So if you fill in the and you fill in the separate A's and B's, you actually have or. It's everything that's in the snowman. So using a Venn diagram just nicely covers everything for you so you can list it quicker. Now I'm not done, and what most people forget is the outside. I have to list what's in the universal set, but not in this little diagram. And the universal set contains 1 to 19, right? Well, I don't have that in here, so I have to still have 1 and 2, 3's in there, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9's in there, 10's in there, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15's already in there, 16, 17, 18's in there, and 20. Not 20, 19. I don't know where I went with that one. So do you see why there has to be a box around the Venn diagram? Could I have put those numbers anywhere around it? Sure. Now here, it says the little n. So instead of saying the little n, they can say the number of elements in A and B. So what's A and B in a shape? The eyeball, right? A and B is the eyeball. How many are in the eyeball? 1. Why don't I put it in squiggly brackets? If I put it in squiggly brackets, that would mean that the element 1 was in A and B, and that's not what I want. I want the number of elements in A and B is 1, so I just put the number 1. What about n of A? Do I just count the ones that are only in A? Or is A the whole circle? Everything in this whole circle is in A, correct? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. That equals 6. Because 15 happens to be in B as well, but it's still in A, so I count it. What about A or B? What does or represent? What shape? The snowman. So I just count the entire snowman, whatever in the snowman. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you see I counted his stomach? You always do with or. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you might be like, yeah, no doubt you do. Half of you will not count that. You don't count the middle piece. The snowman's the whole snowman, right? I need his stomach too. What about the number of elements in B? 1, 2, 3. It's the B circle. What about A and not B? This is where I want to show you what I would do. Okay, ready? Highlighting helps you when you do these. So A and not B. I'm going to draw this here. This is where I lose people, so please pay attention. So what I do in order to figure these ones out that are a little more confusing, like these ones are straightforward, right? I find. These ones are a little more confusing. So what I do is I shade the first letter normally, I shade the second letter normally, and then if it's and, I only keep where they're doubled up. If it's or, I keep everywhere. Because anywhere they are, you keep, right? But and, you only keep where they double up. So I do each separately. So we're just paying attention right now. So I'm going to do A in green. So this was A, correct? That's what we said. So I shade all of A. We agree? Then I'm going to shade not B. So anywhere that's not B. So whenever it says not B, what I do is I actually shade all the way around it. And then I shade everywhere else. Because the only place I can't shade is what? B. If this is an or, I would list anywhere that it's shaded, right? Because either or. But it's not an or, it's a what? An and. So if it's an and, I actually am only looking at where it doubled up. Where did it double up? What color is it now where it doubled up? Yeah, what color is it now? I shaded in green, and I shaded in purple. It's black, but okay. It's right here. So that's actually A and not B. So I'm going to list anything in that part of the Venn diagram. Because this is where it doubled up, right? This was where the double colored happened. And because it's and, you always go only where the double colored is. So I'd have to redraw it and only shade the double colored. I wouldn't actually do this, right? I do this to get where it is, and then I would shade it. Or I would shade anywhere there was color. So now I have to list where this exists. What's exists in that spot? Well, 3, 6, 9, 12, 18. That's what I'm going to list. And I'm going to list it in squiggly brackets. 3, 6, 9, 12, 18. Why did I list it in squiggly brackets? Because what's not in front of here? An n. I'm not asking for the number of elements in here. I'm asking for what is in there. I have to list the elements. Okay? What about not A? If this is A, what's not an A, when it says not something like that, I literally just go around A and say, okay, well, it can't be in there, so everywhere else. Because that cover up, that double up also includes A, doesn't it? So now I list everything that's not in A. So I go back to my chart and I list everything not in A. Well, it's a lot of stuff. The only thing in A is 3, 6, 9, 15, 12, and 18, right? So I'm going to list everything else. I'm going to list 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17, and 19. Now this gets really confusing when it's not A and not B. So what do I do whenever they're the weird ones? I draw my Venn diagram like I normally would. This is A, this is B, and I'm going to shade them each separately. I'm going to shade not A first. I will shade it in blue. So not A is going to get shaded in blue. I don't even care what the symbol's in between. Do you see how I'm not even caring about the symbol? I'm just caring about shading these two. So not A is this. Because anything in there would be A. Not A is anything not in there. So I just shade not A first, because that's what it says here. I don't care what the symbol is, not A. Then I go shade not B, correct? So what do? I go around B, and I shade what's not in B. Correct? Can you see what I'm saying? Now I go to the symbol, because I'm going to redraw it with what it actually represents. Because now I want to actually draw what's in not A and not B. And means I only shade where they both are, correct? Well, light blue, are they both there? No. Yellow, are they both there? No. Where's the only place they both are? It's actually the green, the outside. So it's this. So I shade everything on, or I write everything down on the outside. So on the outside I had 1, 2, 4, 7, 8. 11, 13, 14. 16, 17, 19. The next one I just had to state what was not in B. Not in B is everything but 5, 10, and 15. Before we move on and even do the bottom one, I want you to grab out a completely separate sheet of paper. I tried to say sheet and piece together. It did not work out well. I almost swore with the piece and sheet. Piece of paper, blank piece of paper. It can be lined, it can be not lined, I don't really care. It can be in your book, it cannot be in your book, I don't care. You just need a piece of paper out because we're going to practice shading. Grab out a piece of paper. So, I'm going to give you A, B, and I'm not even going to give you the symbol in between yet. I'm just going to give you A, B, and then after you shade, I'm going to give you the symbol. Okay? Not even giving you the symbol because it doesn't matter right now. So if I gave you A and B, like that, this is going to be our A, this is going to be our B. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm not even going to look at the symbol, I'm just going to shade. If you want to borrow highlighters, you can. 2 highlighters are helpful. So you're going to shade A first. I'm going to shade it separately. Then I'm going to do whatever the heck the other letter says. The other letter says B, so I'm going to shade B separately. Well, this one did not work. I need to pick a different color. Oh, goodness. I need it to actually change colors. So I'm going to shade B in blue. So I shade all of B. So do you see how I just literally shaded just the two letters? There's no sign, so it didn't change whether I put an and or an or in there. I just do this, my first step, shade both letters. We agree? And I will shade my letters, but I'll also highlight the letters too so I know what colors I started off with. Okay? So this is what we're going to do now. Now below it, I'm going to put A and B first. I'm going to draw A and B first. And it's going to be based off of what I just shaded. So where am I going to shade? Where they both are, correct? So just the green, because that's what happened when I shaded. So when it's and, I shade only where they both are. So I can use what I drew above to get me both the and the or, okay? And I come down here and I shade only where they both are. Then I'm going to do the or, A or B. A, B. Now, or, I go up to this picture, and anywhere I have color, I shade. I go up to this picture, or means either or, right? Remember, or meant anywhere I existed, I do. So now down here, with or, I actually just shade anywhere I have color, which is the whole snowman. And what did or always represent when we just used A or B? The snowman, so this proved it. Now what if I don't just use A and B? What if I use something else? Because the A and the B are easy, and is the eyeball, or is the snowman, right? Those ones are easy. It's when something's a not that gets to become a problem. So we're going to do, in the next one, we're going to do not A, B. So I'm going to draw myself a little Venn diagram. It's just going to be my practice shading one. I don't care what symbol's in between, right? I'm going to do these always the same. This is my A, this is my B. So what's the first thing I'm going to shade? First thing I'm going to shade is not A. Where is not A? Everywhere not in the A circle, right? So I'm going to go to A, and I'm going to shade nowhere in it. Everywhere else. So I go around the A, and then in everywhere else. And then my second one I shade is going to be the letter B. And where's B? Just the B circle, right? So I'm going to go shade it in blue. You see that? Now we're going to do the two options. The only two options I can give you are and or, correct? So if I give you and A and B, or sorry, A not and B, or A complement and B, where's the only place I'm going to shade? Where it's doubled up, because it's a and where's the only place it's doubled up? Where it's green. So I would list any items in just this spot, correct? If I asked for not A and B, this little part of a two-circle Venn diagram represents not A and B. Okay? Because it's where they're double shaded. Then I can go and do or. Not A or B. And when I go to the not A or B, I look up here, and or I shade everywhere I have any shading, correct? Yeah. And I only shade where I'm doubled up, or I shade everywhere. So where am I going to shade? Everywhere but this little moon shape, correct? Because everywhere else has at least some shading in it. And then if I were asked for not A or B, I would literally list any elements that fell into this shading. Does that make sense? Is it starting to make sense? So you just use the letters at first and shade both of them separately. Then you go to and, it's where they're double shaded. The or, it's where any shading is. So you guys are going to try this one. A, B not. You try this one. So I'm going to shade A first. And A is easy because it's just a circle. And then I'm going to do not B. So I go all the way around B. Inside the box. And remember, or often means more, right? You're going to have more shading when it's an or. Because either or it counts. So, if I do the and, A and not B, I only shade where they both exist, right? Which is the green for my colors. So it's here. So if I were asked for the elements in A and B, I would list here. We agree? Then A or B, not, I list anywhere. So it would be anywhere but the moon shape on the B because it's the only one that's still white, correct? And I would list anything in there. Does that make sense? Is everyone getting it? Sometimes people are lost. And then they just give me smiles and I don't know. It's going okay?
I just have a question because in the second example you did for just like the beginning one in color, you shaded in the eye part, and then in the one below you didn't shade in the eye part. Is that just...
I didn't?
Like you went over that one with like the green, and like in that one you didn't.
No, they're the same. Like this is still blue here. This is still yellow. Like you would just go, it's still like when it's A or not B, it's basically just not the B is going to be shaded. And when it's not A or B, it's going to be this one. I still shaded it the same. I just did B in blue. And so then when I went over the yellow, I just did all of this. It's just because, I know why you're thinking that. It's because I started off with a not A first. So I shaded a really large region because not A is huge. And then I did B, which was the smaller portion. But this one, I did A first, which is a smaller portion, and then not B, which is a larger portion, which made it seem like I didn't do the middle. But just because I started off with A first, and then this one, I started off with the B second, so it took the middle up on that one. So it's just depending because I had different letters come different order. Okay, we're going to try another one. What happens if I give you this? Thing just does what it wants from. Not A, not B. Okay. For this one, A, B. First one we're going to do is not A. So not A, I circle around all of A in the box. Then I shade. Then I do not B. Then for A and B, I shade where they both are, which in my case is the green, which is actually the whole outside, everything but the or. And then, sorry, those both knots. And then A knot or B knot is anywhere it's shaded, which is everywhere but the middle, right? Everywhere but there. Did everyone get that? One thing I want to show you as well, and this happens with ands and ors. If they're both negated, you're going to write this down. If they're both negated like this, there's actually a rule they show us, and you'll see how it actually works. If they're both negated, an easy way to do the question is actually, what you can do is you can write this as the negation outside. I'll tell you why this is easier. These won't be negated anymore. And then your and sign flips to an or. Now some people will say, well, why is that any easier? Well, if you look down here, not A and not B, I just told you is the same as A, B, not outside, flip the sign, right? Or. What's A or B? What shape is A or B? What shape is or? The snowman. So what does this mean? Not the snowman. What's this? Snowman. What did I draw? I shaded not the snowman. It's the same thing. Now these are both negated as well. A not or B not, which is the exact same. I still handle it the same. I can rewrite this as A, B, the not outside, but instead of an or, I have an and. Correct? What's the shape of and? The eyeball, right? So this is the same as not A and B, which is not in the eyeball. Look, where did I shade? Everywhere but the eyeball. So when they're both negated, you can actually write the negation outside, but you have to flip the sign in the middle. We're going to go back to our notes to the last part of that question on page 1. You're going to answer the bottom one that we can now do. So I would suggest to answer that bottom one, you do your shading. So the bottom one is not A or B. Well, I'm going to shade not A, I'm going to shade B, and then I'm going to keep where they're both shaded, right? And then count all of those. So I would sketch a drawing first for that one. So try that one out. Okay, so for this one, I would do not A first. Which is that. Then I would do B next. Which is that. If it was or, I would only take where they both are, which is just the green piece, right? Or sorry, and I'd only take where the green piece is, correct? But it's or, so it's actually everything. So A, not or B, is actually everything but the moon of A, right? So I'm going to list everything, all the elements everywhere but the one in the little moon of A. So I go back to the moon of A. It's just 3, 6, 9, 12, 18. But I'll list everything else, right? 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19. Why did I list 15? It's in the middle. The middle's shaded, right? So it counts. If I can get you guys to wrap your heads around the shading of them when they give you knots, A's, and B's, you can do any Venn diagram question. It'll be super easy. If you can do this, what I just did today, 2-circle Venns are easy. If you struggle on these, you have to get help because I'll ask a question, people will fill their Venns in properly and then can't answer the questions. Okay?